Vonambi, the silent killer of the dream time. An ancient terror from the shadows of time. Prologue. Shadows beneath the stars.
Long before cities rose and empires fell, before pyramids scraped the skies and stone tools clashed in battle, there was silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the eerie, watching silence of predators. It cloaked the primeval lands of Australia like a breath held too long. The outback, vast and untamed, pulsed with ancient life. And in the dead of night, when fires burned low and men huddled close, something older than their stories stirred in the brush. It didn't hiss. It didn't rattle. It didn't roar. It simply waited. And then it struck. Its name was Vonambi, and it never needed venom to kill.
Chapter 1. A land forgotten by time.
Australia, 50,000 years ago. A continent of alien giants and deep-rooted myths.
Towering thunderbirds stalked the plains, and wombat-like diprotodons the size of cars grazed under scorching suns.
But among these prehistoric behemoths slithered something more sinister, a serpent of silence and muscle, unseen, unheard, until it was too late. Vonambi, a constrictor unlike any still living today, measured up to 6 meters of pure muscle. It had no venom, no warning signs, no dramatic coloration. What it had was patience, a hunter's precision, and crushing power that could snap ribs like dry twigs. Fossils unearthed from Australian caves tell of its lurking presence. But the bones whisper of more than just biology. They speak of encounters, of eyes in the dark and myths born in terror. Because Vonambi was not just a predator. It may have hunted humans. Chapter 2. The First Encounter. They were nomads, the first people to walk this strange land. Skin baked dark by the sun, hearts strong, minds alert, they moved as families across the wide red desert, following rivers that vanished and stars that never did. One such group, a clan of 11, had set camp near a riverbed swollen from the recent rains. Children played in the shallows. Men sharpened spears of stone and wood.
Women gathered roots and whispered songs of the dream time.
But something watched. Just beyond the fringe of vision, under the shadow of saltbush and eucalyptus, coils stirred. Vonambi had arrived. It had no need for speed. It could feel the earth shudder with their steps, hear the smallest rustle of cloth or footfall. It slid closer with a grace so unnatural, the kangaroos and cassowaries didn't even flinch.
A perfect predator, wrapped in silence.
That night, while the camp slept, Vonambi struck. A teenage boy had wandered to relieve himself in the dark. He never made it back. They found the flattened grass, the drag marks, and then nothing. No blood, no struggle, just absence. The tribe moved the next day. They spoke his name only once. And then they never did again.
Chapter 3. Born of muscle, not venom.
Unlike vipers or cobras, Vonambi had no toxins in its fangs. But what it lacked in chemical warfare, it made up for with brute, terrifying force. Modern pythons wrap their prey with shocking speed. But Vonambi? Fossil reconstructions suggest it was even faster. It could dislocate its jaw to consume wallabies whole. Its internal organs could compress, stretch, twist, turning massive mammals into digestible meals. But its power wasn't just physical. It had evolved in isolation, fine-tuned by the relentless crucible of the Australian wilderness. In a world of thunderbirds and marsupial lions, Vonambi carved out its place in silence. Unlike snakes today, Vonambi showed no mercy. If it sensed warmth, breath, heartbeats, it acted. And if the prey screamed, it only squeezed tighter. No scream was ever heard more than once. Chapter 4. When man became the prey. As the generations passed, the people began to adapt. They learned not to wander alone, to never sleep near thick underbrush, to keep fires burning, even at great cost. They painted the serpent in ochre and ash on cave walls, a warning, not a celebration. Its eyes were drawn with fire. Its body, black and winding like rivers of death. It became legend. Dreamtime spirits whispered warnings. Beware the ground that moves without sound. But some didn't listen. A hunter, confident in his strength, followed a kangaroo trail alone one morning. The marsupial was still warm when he found it. Throat crushed, body bruised, no bite marks. Then he saw it. A flicker of movement under dry leaves.
A glint of amber eyes.
Before he could raise his spear, Vonambai had him, ribs shattered, lungs collapsed in a silent gasp, his scream swallowed by the forest. The clan found his bones days later, clean and scattered.
Vonambi ed Itenwell. Chapter 5. Whispers in the Stone.
Thousands of years later, long after Vonambai vanished into extinction, its story remained, etched into the rocks, spoken in hushed tones, echoed in the DNA of fear. When paleontologists in the 20th century unearthed its fossilized remains in the Naracoorte caves of southern Australia, they were stunned. The vertebrae were massive, thick, suggesting an animal of immense girth. The skull. Primitive, yet precise. No signs of venom sacs, but everything about its shape screamed predator. And then came the strangest part. Near Vonambai's remains, archaeologists found stone tools.
Spears.
Fire pits. Human artifacts. The implication was chilling. Vonambai and humans had overlapped. Not just on timelines. On paths.
Chapter 6. The Dreamtime Never Ends.
Even today, Aboriginal legends speak of the rainbow serpent, a divine force of water, earth, and power. Some scholars believe this myth is the cultural memory of ancient megasnakes like Vonambai. But perhaps it was more literal. What if the rainbow serpent wasn't just metaphor? What if, in the age before writing, people carved their nightmares into myth? What if Vonambai never truly left, but lives on in stories, a ghost of muscle and shadow, coiled in the corners of memory?
Epilogue. The ground still moves. In the outback, silence still rules. Fires still flicker under alien stars.
And somewhere in the dark, the ground stirs, not with snakes, but with their echoes.
Vonambi is long dead.
But its legend.
Alive and watching. Every rustle of leaves.
Every branch that snaps.
Every whisper on the wind. Called be Vonambi, waiting again.
Because the oldest killers leave the deepest fears.
Enso Metimes. The loudest screams come after the quietest killers.